Welcome to Crossroads. I'm your host, Joshua Phillip. Today we have Representative Doug Ericksen from Washington State here to talk to us about free speech. It's a real pleasure having you on the show.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell me about, I guess, some of your work first and kind of what your guiding ideology is when it comes to free speech.
Well, definitely. I'm from Washington State. I'm a state senator there. Served on many of the committees, been involved in it for now my third term in the state senate. And I've watched this evolution of free speech, particularly on college campuses, and also in terms of social media. One of the committees I'm on the higher education committee. And every year we have interns come in to work in my office from all the universities in Washington State, and they tend to put the conservative ones with me. And almost all of them talk about the fear they live in on campus of being identified as a conservative, about the punishment they feel they suffer because professors will take it out on them that they're conservative, they can't express their views freely on college campus. Right now in Washington State. I think that's one of the scariest chilling factors really going on in the free speech movement is the lack of free speech in our universities.
And what a bizarre situation, because it was the universities, students who were really calling for free speech just a few decades ago.
Yeah, you would think, but it's definitely the opposite right now. And they like the free speech if you agree with them. They don't necessarily care for the free speech on the conservative side. So we see that quite a bit, on the college campus. I was kind of shocked with the number of interns who would approach me and tell me, what was happening on the campuses and how they felt. I actually did a town hall at my local university, Western Washington University, a year and a half ago. And lots of students came out to express that same thing about lack of free speech on college campuses.
And this is mostly political discrimination you're seeing? Or religious discrimination, maybe for Christians? What are you seeing most usually?
It's the politics. I think the Trump factor has made it worse on college campuses with those that aren't able to go out and say they support President Trump. A lot of the pro-life movements, Students for Life has a chapter up at Western Washington University, and they have a hard time. They put up their flyers will be torn down, spray painted over, vandalized, and that's perfectly okay apparently. If they were to go and take down somebody else's, flyer, that would be hate speech. So, getting back to how we handle those things. Also, we had a Christian school in my neighborhood just vandalized last week. If it had been not a Christian public school, if it had been a Jewish school or a Muslim school, it would have been hate speech.
It would have been international news.
But now it's just a Christian one, so it's okay. So we do see a little bit of that religious intolerance towards, I think, the Christian faith on college campuses also.
Yeah, and so we have a frightening, concerning, I should say, situation in our country today, where people are trying to censor other people based on their political views, their values, their religious views, and doing it ironically under the banner of, standing against discrimination and things like this. Discrimination under the banner of fighting discrimination. And what a bizarre jump of logic it is really, right? And so I think, of course they talk about hate speech. And hate speech is it's a power word. It's a made-up term infused with different political ideologies and used to label people for having beliefs and values that oppose, say, the politically correct beliefs and values. Mm-hmm. And while it's not illegal under law, it's being enforced on the grassroots level and by, say, social media platforms and news outlets, where people like students, for example, risk having their lives destroyed if they come out and say things that go against the politically correct kind of moral standard that is being forced on them. Right, is this kind of what you're seeing with this?
Oh, we're definitely seeing that. Young conservatives are scared to post things on social media. They'll be more conservative, and not even getting close to hate speech. Just supporting traditional marriage, for example, or coming out and saying that you're a pro-life individual. I think they oftentimes feel that if they do that, they will be singled out, and that will hurt them further down the line. What I saw on my own, I was just up for re-election last year, and on my Facebook page, for example, we were not able to boost a single post off of my Facebook page for the entire campaign. We actually hired people to try to get us approved to post and boost things, and we couldn't get it done. Right after the election, it got approved.
Interesting. And wasn't it these platforms that are making all this noise about political manipulation and things like that? What happens when the platforms themselves are engaging in political manipulation?
Oh, without a doubt. People trying to claim that $200,000 spent on ads by a Russian company, influenced the election when multiple billions of dollars are spent on it. And when you look at what the other social media platforms did to censor the material getting out at the grassroots level, I've heard from so many people at this conference, elected officials, who couldn't share their thoughts and ideas in that social media platform called Facebook And so that's why now what I've actually done is I put together a new social media platform called WeSpeak to try to compete. So I got so fed up with it, I partnered with some other people, and we put together a new platform to go out there and be fair and even-handed across the board to actually allow free speech back into that public domain.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, what do you think could be done about this? Because it's a testy ground when we try to solve free speech issues through, say, political legislation. Of course, we can talk about, say, registering these big social networks as, utilities and things like that. But then, it kind of, for conservatives at least, it kind of starts touching the ground of whether we want to go there with policy. And so I think you took an interesting point, which is use the free market to challenge it, create an alternative product. And so tell us about, your idea of doing that and why you took that route. Is it kind of the idea, or is it something else?
No, I think it was really the idea of frustration based upon what happened during the last campaign, what happened to so many people, that we heard from with regards to that social media platform. So we put together one that we think's better than Facebook in many ways, particularly our campaign site. And we're really gearing it towards both the grandma that wants to be able to go out and privately share photos, with their grandkids, and also the campaign. We have a very powerful campaign tool for doing your entire campaign on one site. Whether it's events, whether it's emails, text messaging, scheduling all your different things, all on one place. And the beauty of it is you own your information. So if you decide you're going to leave this platform and go somewhere else, you can take it with you. It belongs to you. So that's what we're really trying to get after. And the other part that we're unique on is we don't sell information. And so the big money maker for a place like Facebook or Google is selling your private information, your personal information. We're free, we're fair, and we're slightly more conservative in terms of our business viewpoints, but we aren't going to be selling people's private information.
Great. So tell people where they can find more about your work.
Well, as a legislator, they can go to senatorericksen.com. And of course, for the WeSpeak, WeSpeak.com, it's up and running. It's a fully functioning social media platform where you can do everything you want. Free, fair, and without fear of your information being sold. So those are the two places to find out.
Wonderful. Yeah, real pleasure having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Yes.